so today, let's pull back the curtain on something that's being built kind of quietly by the biggest names in finance. It's called Canton. And look, this is not about the next hot meme coin. Not at all. This is about the future of financial plumbing, the real infrastructure and the tokenization of actual real-world assets. So what in the world are they building? While everyone's eyes are glued to the public crypto markets, have you ever stopped to wonder, what are the real giants of finance up to? I'm talking about the biggest banks, the huge market makers. What are they building behind closed doors? What does their vision for the future of finance actually look like? Well, the answer, it turns out, is a permissioned blockchain, one that's built for a very specific purpose. Yeah, it's operating way under the radar, without all that usual crypto hype, but trust me, its implications, they could be absolutely massive. Okay, so what is Canton? The simple way to think about it is it's a blockchain network built just for financial institutions. People often call it a network of networks. Its whole reason for existing is to let banks, funds, and markets deal with tokenized assets. But, and this is the key part right here, they get to do it with the privacy and control that, let's be honest, is completely non-negotiable in their world. I mean, think about it, right? A huge hedge fund can't just go broadcasting its trading strategies on a public blockchain for everyone to see. That would totally wreck their business model, not to mention all the regulatory red tape. And this is where you really see the big difference. On one hand, you've got the world most of us know, public blockchains like Ethereum, where everything is open, totally transparent. Then, on the other hand, you've got Canton. It's private, it's permissioned, it was designed from day one to work inside the super regulated world of big finance. So, if this thing is built for institutions, a big question pops up. Who exactly is behind it? And believe me, the answer to that question really shows you how serious this project is. Yeah, this is no garage startup. Canton is being developed by a company called Digital Asset. They're a huge name in enterprise blockchain. But just look at who's playing along. The DTCC. I mean, that's basically the central nervous system for the entire US securities market. Then you've got global banks, other massive infrastructure providers. We are talking about some serious institutional firepower here. And that really gets to the core of it all. See, Canton isn't trying to compete with Bitcoin or Ether for your retail dollars. Nope, it's aiming to be the new, souped-up plumbing for the absolute heart of the global financial system. Okay, so we know who's building it. Now let's talk about what they're actually doing with it. And this brings us right to one of the biggest buzzwords, one of the biggest stories in finance right now. Tokenizing real-world assets. And we're not talking about some small-time experiments. No way. The pilot programs are going after some of the biggest markets on the planet. I'm talking about the U.S. Treasury bond market, a market valued in the tens of trillions of dollars. Just to put that into perspective for you, that's bigger than the GDP of the entire European Union combined. It's massive. So this pilot program with the DTCC gives us a perfect picture of how this new workflow actually works. Step 1, assets, like those U.S. Treasury bonds, are created as tokens on the blockchain. Step 2, this means they can be traded 24/7. It completely shatters the old, rigid 9-to-5 schedule of traditional markets. And then step 3, transactions settle almost instantly. This is huge because it slashes what's called counterparty risk. Okay, so a network like this, it's got to have a native token to make it all run, right? But as you've probably already guessed, the purpose of this token is way different from the speculative coins we usually see flying around in the crypto world. There's this quote from their white paper that just nails it. It really gets to the heart of Canton's native token, which is called CC. This thing is not for marketing, it's not for speculation, it is a pure 100% utility token. It's just a tool designed to make the whole system work. So at the core of its economics, its tokenomics, you have this idea called the burn-mint equilibrium. Let me break it down. When an institution uses the network, they pay a fee in CC tokens. Those tokens are then burned. Poof, gone, removed from circulation. At the very same time, new tokens are minted and given out as rewards to the people running the network. What this does is it creates this cool self-regulating system where the token supply is tied directly to how much the network is being used. And that helps keep the price stable and predictable, which, as you can imagine, is a must-have for a tool that's going to be used in institutional finance. So who gets these minted rewards? Right now, they're split between the network operators, the validators and super validators who are processing all the transactions and keeping the network safe, and also the application providers. But here's what's really interesting. The plan is to shift this reward system by 2026 to focus way more on developers. And that's a really smart move, right? Because it gives a direct incentive for people to build new apps and find new uses for the network, which is what's going to drive its growth in the long run.
Okay, this all sounds pretty promising. But let's get real. What does the future actually hold for Canton? And more importantly, what are the risks? If you look at their roadmap, all signs point to 2026 being a huge year. Right now, they're busy expanding those tokenization pilots we talked about. In the near term, the big goal is just to get more and more institutions operating directly on the network. And then, by 2026, the plan is to have that CC token fully baked in as a core part of the operations, and to achieve much better interoperability, getting different financial markets to talk to each other seamlessly. So let's zoom out and look at the big picture, the pros and the cons. On the plus side, Canton has that heavyweight institutional backing. It's laser-focused on real-world use cases that are worth a ton of money, and its tokenomics are all about utility. But the risks are just as big. Getting these giant, slow-moving institutions on board could take years. By design, there's basically zero interest from retail investors, and the whole thing really depends on getting the green light from regulators around the world. So yeah, it's a very high-stakes game, but the payoff could be absolutely massive. So when you put all the pieces together, you start to see what Canton's real mission is. It's a really bold play to build a bridge between the world of traditional finance and the world of blockchain. They're trying to offer the privacy and compliance of the old world, but with the incredible efficiency and speed of the new one. And that leaves us with one last big question. We've seen the tech, we've seen the powerful players involved, and we've seen the long-term game plan. So, are we just watching the quiet, steady construction of something truly enormous here? Could this be the blueprint for how our entire global financial system one day gets tokenized? Now that is something to think about.